Welcome back again, everyone. Today I'm reviewing the limited edition from Martin Family Cigars. This is the limited edition 2013. Now, the sample that I was sent by Maria is unbanded. This is the cigar though. It appears to be 6x54 is what I'm calling it. There's your box pressed density. Feels nice in the hand. These were scheduled to be available April of this year, so they should be available now. As far as the band, from their Facebook website, this is the band that I suspect goes on the cigars right here. Now, this cigar is extremely limited. The blend took 10 years, was developed 10 years ago by Pedro Martin. And of course, Pedro passed away several years ago. These cigars are limited to only 500 are being made because of the limited wrapper. When they say 500 are being made, that sounds like only 500 cigars, not 500 boxes. Cigars are box pressed, and let's see. Okay, that's about all I know. My information is limited. The cigar is limited, but my patience before I try it is limited. So let's remedy that and start it right now. It would be a fair assumption to assume that this is an all Nicaraguan cigar. I don't really have any breakdown of the wrapper, binder, or filler, but I'm going to assume it is. I'm sure Maria will let me know, but the bottom line is, what is the cigar like? Okay, this is a very wide box press. The draw is effortless. There's all I took off. You can see it's very little. Those of you keeping score will note that my cap cutting is rarely at 90 degrees, but I hope that doesn't really matter to you. It's a very light, citrusy cedar, sweet, has sweet notes. There's a lot of pepper. I would put the pepper at about a 7. At least a 7, 7.5. It's rather nice. So that's how it starts off with your initial flavors. I'll be curious to see where it goes from here. But that's how the Pedro Martin Limited Edition 2013. It's a sweet, light, citrusy cedar. It's just a combination of citrus and cedar with a large amount of pepper. And let's see where we go from here. As you can see, I'm about 3/4 of an inch in, and the flavors have settled down somewhat. Now what you have is a cocoa cedar combination. The pepper is still very good. There are some light earth tones to the cigar also. The finish is it feels sweet. It has a sweet note of cream and cedar. There's a nice lingering pepper also. The cigar made quite a change there from the initial flavors with the citrus. Not really so much citrus notes now, but there are a lot of cocoa and cedar notes with that sweetness. And it's a very nice combination, actually. Yep, you get all three of those. So that's where we are at the 3/4 closer to maybe 1 inch point. This cigar, I would call it at this point, is of the medium bodied variety. There's a nice sweetness to that cedar and cocoa combination. So let's see where we go from here. That's a nice start. Well, about 1.5 inches in, and the cedar is now sort of charred tasting, and the cocoa is still there. The combination though is starting to get a little rich, and it makes it very nice. The finish is more along the lines of a toasted cream now. There are hints of cedar on the finish, but by and large it's a toasted cream. This cigar continues to be what I would call medium bodied. But a little hint of richness, and at this point it's just a hint. It hasn't quite developed full-blown richness, but it's very nice. So the charred cedar gave it another wrinkle. The earth notes we talked about before are subtle at this point, so you don't really get a lot of those, but they're there at the very tail end. So that's where we are at the 1.5 inch point. Well, I am about 2/3 of the way in, and the notes that I can tell you about now are the cedar notes are more of a dry cedar. The richness we talked about before is not really there anymore, but it's a dry, charred cedar, which combines very nicely with a very thick cocoa. The cocoa is quite obvious. It's about a 50-50 split between the cedar and the cocoa now. The cocoa is not hints of cocoa, it's very obvious. The pepper remains good, and the finish now has gone to one more of a toasted cream entirely, and it's very long and thick and very pleasing. The cigar now is probably tipped over to medium to full body, and it's burning very nicely. As with all box press cigars, you tend to have to smoke them slower and really watch them, or the burn will get off. This has been very nice. So that's where we are at the 2/3 point. The cigar's going on very nicely. Well, here we are at the end, so let's wrap it up. Flavors stayed pretty much consistent from the last segment to now. This cigar, I can't overstate, is full of cocoa notes, and they mix so well with that dry cedar that's a little bit charred. The pepper is very good throughout. The cigar has a note of sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. It's just all around a very pleasing cigar. Those heavy cocoa notes really make it interesting. And the finish is so long and thick and pleasing. It goes on forever. The nice lingering pepper on the finish also. Medium to full bodied here at the end. And this has been a very good cigar. Extremely limited, so if you can find these, you need to grab them, because I don't think they'll be around very long. The Martin Limited Edition 2013. I'm giving it a score of 92. Very, very good cigar, and I appreciate Maria sending it to me to try. And again, I'll say, if you can find them, you better